Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Otto Wallin, Deontay Wilder. Get this. Promoter Salida, Otto Wallin's promoter, states that Otto Wallin would love to fight Deontay Wilder. Otto Wallin will essentially stay busy in another non-televised fight Thursday night in Dearborn, Michigan, assuming the favorite heavyweight contender defeats Rydell Booker, which he did in their 10-round main event. His promoter hopes to land the southpaw with a bigger fight this year. Wallin would welcome a rematch with Tyson Fury at any point, but facing the former WBC champion, Fury, defeated twice, would work as well. Quote, I think Otto would love to fight Deontay Wilder. If Deontay Wilder, Dimitri Salida, promoter, said, I think that's a great fight. That takes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Otto gave Tyson Fury the most difficult fight of his career. Obviously, Wilder lost to Fury twice in their memorable trilogy. So I think that's the fight that makes the most sense. And I've actually reached out to Team Wilder and let them know that Otto can be available. Let me stop there. If I'm Otto Wallin, of course I would think that. If I'm Otto Wallin, that's the second best thing. If Otto Wallin feels that he gave Tyson Fury one of the most difficult fights of his career, which he did, it was a very challenging fight for Tyson Fury. There's a lot of elements and a lot of things involved in that fight. The two cuts on the same side of his face, you know, the constant bleeding out of that particular cuts, and the constant aggression that the southpaw put upon Tyson Fury. He made Tyson Fury work. But if Tyson Fury's retired, why wouldn't you go for the guy that gave Tyson Fury the most praise? And that's Deontay Wilder. Okay? You would want that high legacy fight. On top of this, here's another thing you don't think about. What about Otto Wallin's proposed fight with Dillian Whyte? Dillian Whyte was stopped in round 5 against Tyson Fury. And so now you look at the performance between Dillian Whyte and Otto Wallin. Then if you're Otto Wallin, you should look very good right now. You've only got one loss, and that's to one of the best fighters in the world, if not the best heavyweight in the world, right? Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. And then you hear of Deontay Wilder coming back to the sport of boxing. What would you want? Your overall idea would be, hey, get me a pro fight, or get me a top-level fight like I had with Dillian Whyte, and let me show you what I can do. Okay, that would be great. If I was Otto Wallin, that's exactly what I would put my promoters on. And that's why they reached out to Team Wilder, you know, in regards to getting the fight made with Otto Wallin. And if I'm Wilder, I would want that fight as well. Let's look at it on that side. If Wilder fights Otto Wallin, he could knock out Otto Wallin and claim, you know what, I've already knocked Tyson Fury out. I knocked the guy that fought Tyson Fury and gave him one of his best fights besides myself. And now it's time to knock out the rest. Right? That's it. If I was Deontay Wilder, I would think exactly that. Because you got a guy that doesn't hit hard. He's not a hard banger. He's a southpaw, just like Spilka. Let's think about it. So he's another Spilka in retrospect. He could probably do what he did with Spilka to Otto Wallin. Knock him out cold. Why? Because he's the southpaw, lined up with the straight gunshot sniper right hand that can knock out your lights and anybody else probably that gets hit with that right hand. So, yeah, that would be good. Low risk, great reward. Low risk, great reward. Okay? That would put Deontay Wilder right under there. So him and Tyson Fury can share a victory over Otto Wallin. But the difference is, Deontay would have a KO victory over Otto Wallin versus the 12th round drug out interesting fight he had with Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. Okay, so yeah, I would love to see Otto Wallin take it to or challenge Deontay Wilder to see what Deontay Wilder has left. And that would be a high caliber fight anyway, because Otto Wallin deserves it. He deserves it because he didn't pull out of that fight. He did everything possible. He did everything right. Bars. He did exactly what he should have done, and then that fight was snatched up from under him due to injury. And that, again, that was no fault of his own. You know what I mean? So, you know, this could be a nice twist of karma if Otto Wallin could finally get the fight that he deserves. In fact, he could get the fight that he probably should have got to challenge the WBC title. That's if Tyson the Gypsy King Fury doesn't come back to the sport of boxing. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Team Wallin stating that he wants a piece of Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, the former WBC heavyweight champion of the world. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!